Boston has so much to love. In my last video, I walked across the Seaport District and enjoyed a beautiful harbor cruise, and then I hopped on the trolley and headed to the far end of the Freedom Trail. The Freedom Trail is a 2.5-mile long path through Boston that passes by 16 locations significant to the history of the United States. Now, those are the official locations on the Freedom Trail, but there is so much to see in this entire area. The locations along the Freedom Trail that have been marked on this map mark significant locations where the colonists were starting to rebel against British rule. Now, I did the Seaport District and the Freedom Trail all in one day, and let me tell you, I was tired. I walked a lot of miles, maybe close to 10 miles that day. I'm going to start my tour right here in the National Historical Park in the Charleston Navy Yard. Now, the reason I started here is this is the far end of the Freedom Trail that I could reach by trolley. I'm going to start at the USS Constitution Museum, and then we're going to follow the brick line and see as many of the sights as we can here. Now, this museum is dedicated to the USS Constitution. Now, when I looked into this ship, it became famous during the War of 1812. So then I was curious, why is this on the Freedom Trail? Because the Freedom Trail really focuses on the 1700s when the Revolutionary War began against Britain. The USS Constitution is included in the Freedom Trail because it represents the young nation that emerged from that revolution, showing how America had grown strong enough to build powerful warships and defend itself against the British Navy. Impressive. Now, this is considered the U.S. Navy shipyard here. So the USS Constitution Visitor Center and Museum is operated by the National Park Service. And then there's another ship that's docked here that you can do a self-guided tour for free if you would like. That's also here. And there's a water shuttle from this area to take you back to the downtown area. If you want to visit the ship and the museum here, it is closed on Mondays. So today is a Sunday, so plan accordingly if this is something you want to see while you're in Boston. Now, what's important to note is this is not a replica. This is the actual ship. It launched in 1797, and it was actually launched here from this Boston harbor. So the fact that this is the original is really amazing, fantastic to be on a ship that old. Apparently this is where they do their cooking, and all the cannons run along here. That is fascinating. The whole side of the ship. This is the gun deck in battle. Now down here, you have to be super short. I am 5'2". And maybe 5'4", 5'5", just about hitting my head down here. This is how everybody slept in these cots hanging down here. Hammocks, I guess. Basically, the crew's divided in half, and they take shifts, and one watches the ship, and the other gets comfortable in their hammock. So this makes me wonder if people were this tiny back then. There's these little rooms. They've got on display the lieutenants, maybe the people in charge. This is the wardroom. Let's see. Constitution officers. These are the officers' cabins. And they are like super tiny doors. You can see the people of normal height bending down to look inside. Captain's cabin. He has his own cannon. He's got a bedroom back there, a dining room, so he has some nice digs. We're gonna go visit the Bunker Hill Monument. Up on that hill, we're gonna take a walk up there today. Now you can see this big obelisk overlooking the harbor from miles away. It really does feel like I'm walking through history. Just everything looks like we were living back in that time. The Battle of Bunker Hill, which was fought on June 17th, 1775. The battle was technically a British victory, but it came at an enormous cost. The British suffered over 1,000 casualties, and the Americans lost about 400 men. Even though we lost, the battle's significance lies in the fact that colonial forces could stand toe-to-toe with professional British troops. The famous order, "Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes," came from this battle. Site of the Battle of Bunker Hill, fought June 17th, 1775. Wow, it's called Breed's Hill. So inside here at the monument, apparently you can climb all the way to the top of this monument. Now I considered it, but given how tired I am, how thirsty I am, and how many more things I need to see today, I've decided not to go up there, and I bet the views are absolutely incredible. But I'm gonna keep going on the site. So if you're into that and want some incredible views and you can handle the steps, then you can come and visit on top of the monument here at Bunker Hill. Right here's the Bunker Hill Museum, and it was closed when I was there, so I didn't go inside. So here we are on the map. This is the farthest end of the Freedom Trail. So I follow the path back down to where I started. I hop back on the trolley to get me across the water just to save me a few steps because I was pretty tired. I got dropped off right here with some pretty incredible views here too, right by some of these stadiums, and then I went looking for lunch. So this part of town on the north end is considered Little Italy. I had a pizza recommendation for Pizzeria Regina. Seems to have reasonable prices, and there was also a pastry shop, I think, called Mike's Pastry. So I'm gonna go kind of peek at those two places and see. I feel like I'm more thirsty than I am hungry right now, but I definitely need some refueling. The humidity zaps you. Boy, that's a tight fit. He's got to go up on the sidewalk. There's a crowd of people here, and there is a line. This must be it, and it is apparently pretty popular. So I hate to say this, but I don't have the time to wait. Well, I didn't plan my time appropriately, and I don't want to get too far off the Freedom Trail, so I'm going to head up to the burial ground, and I'm just going to have to wait to find a place to eat. And they said that many of the people, most of the people that died on the Battle of Bunker Hill are buried here at this historic cemetery. So we'll stop there and then pick back up with the trail, and I'll just find a place to eat somewhere along the way. This is the Copp's Hill Burying Ground. It was established around 1659. It is the second oldest cemetery in the Boston area. It contains approximately 1,200 marked graves, although an estimated 10,000 people are buried here. British forces also used this hill as an elevated artillery position during the Battle of Bunker Hill. Now just about a block away is the Old North Church. This was built in 1723. It's the oldest surviving church in Boston, and it's one of the most famous sites on the Freedom Trail. On the night of April 18, 1775, 2 lanterns were hung from its steeple to signal Paul Revere that the British were moving by sea, sparking the midnight rides that warned the countryside the revolution was about to begin. Now this steeple was the tallest structure in Boston in 1775. This is why it was chosen for the lantern signal. But the one you see today isn't the original. The original was blown down in a storm in 1804, and the second one collapsed during Hurricane Carol in the 1950s. But the version you see today was built to look just like the original. Now I was not allowed to film inside, but I found it really interesting to see the style of pews that they have in this type of church. So if you're following the Freedom Trail, this was really confusing for me because my phone actually is dying and I'm saving it to get myself back to the hotel. I've done so much filming, and the Freedom Trail appears to stop right at the North Church. But if you look between the church and the gift shop building, that's where the trail goes. Looks like it just stops there, but you go right in between the buildings and it is so pretty. Right here. see this little alleyway. It's not marked super clearly. We're gonna go right down here. And these old historic buildings are fantastic. This is a historic home built in the 1700s. And this person helped construct the Old North Church. Wow. Let's come around the front. I don't know if that's the front, but there's the building right there. Oh, looks like from here, from this side, there's a little gated entrance, depending on which direction you're walking. Maybe I'm walking the trail backwards. I don't know if there's an official start and end, but this is the way I decided to walk it. This to those men of the North End who defended with their lives the integrity of the Union in the American Civil War from 1861 to 1865. And this particular sign is dedicated to Thomas Cass, born in Ireland. He was one of the first to respond to the call of President Lincoln for volunteers. There's another one here called the Salutation Tavern, opened in 1662, adjoined to this mall. Here, Sam Adams, Josiah Quincy Jr., Joseph Warren, Paul Revere, John Adams, Jane Otis, and the North End ship hawkers urged the independence of America. The Green Dragon Tavern, considered the headquarters of the Revolution. Literally, this whole wall is covered with significant locations and significant people who deserve recognition. Paul Revere. I wonder if Paul Revere's house. We've got to be close to Paul Revere's house. We're going to see that next. This is considered Paul Revere Mall. The glare from the sun. Everyone here is stopping for their photo with Paul Revere. Now take note that the churches are closed on Mondays, so you won't be able to visit inside. Let's make sure you won't be able to visit inside if you're coming on a Monday. Now this is St. Stephen's Church. Let's see, since 1804, there's a little restaurant here. It's the only remaining Bullfinch church in Boston. I don't know what that is.
Church up here.
This is a very happening section with lots of restaurants on this strip here. Beautiful Peace Garden over there in Roman Catholic Church, if you can see it, with all the cars. Just looks really pretty. There's a walkway over there. Some sort of party happened here. There is confetti everywhere. And so there's a beautiful Peace Garden here. It's an Italian parish. Look at how pretty it is. Beautiful garden here with the beautiful church. That lady was very interested in what I was doing. Here we go. It was founded in 1873, the first Roman Catholic church in New England, built by Italian immigrants. All right, well, again, the historical path stopped. Oh, I see it over there. So I'm gonna go down. Look at how cute this is. Just look. All right, really close to the happening area here is the Paul Revere house. Now I've read that they don't allow filming inside. Maybe I'll be able to take a couple pictures, but I'm about to lose my phone as well because I'm out of battery life. So we're gonna go check out the Paul Revere house. I think it's $6 to visit. I think it's either, I don't know if it's this wooden building or if it's this brick one next to it. What an amazing part of town. The Paul Revere House Museum. Oh, okay, so it was that the wooden structure was the house. We're gonna go inside, experience everyday family life in 18th century Boston. And then I guess next to it is another house. This is a brick house built in 1711. All right, there's actually no photos or videos inside the house. Now, this is the courtyard. I just paid my entry fee, and so we're gonna go check it out. But this is something you're gonna have to see for yourself. So they told us that this was actually the oldest house in Boston. It was built in the 1600s. It had an owner before Paul Revere. It had been owned by another gentleman for 90 years, I believe they said, before Paul Revere moved in. And he thought it was kind of an old home with the wood structure. What they started to build about the time that Paul Revere moved in, or more of, they called it the Georgian style, I believe they called it, which was the brick type homes. I decided to pick up a sandwich to go here. This looks like a really good place for some lunch. It's a pretty big sandwich. That's gonna feed me all day. Here's the place. Just kind of caught my eye. And it says here, it is Boston's best Italian grocery. All right, continuing the trail. Place, look at this line. Holy cow. Modern pastry. Must be something really good in here. Okay, I've lost the trail. I guess the trail is on the other side of the road. I will have to cross up ahead. This is just street after street of just happening places. Here, but look at this beautiful park and lovely downtown scene here and crazy traffic. I guess I'm in the road. Let me come over here. There's the trail. We're back on the trail now. There we go. It's pretty busy right here in this area. Hanover and Surface Road. There are plenty of Irish pubs to enjoy. You gotta pay attention because it comes down across the street and I didn't catch it. So keep your eyes peeled at the intersections. But this corner right over here looks really cool. I'm gonna take you in there. And who knew there's a Gordon Ramsay Burgers here? I didn't know that. Now just look at this. How cool is this? Gift shop. What an interesting, Green Dragon Tavern. And there's another tavern here. This says it's the oldest Bell and Hand Tavern.
Yeah, I'm still in Boston right now.
Now this says the oldest continuously run tavern, established in 1795. Wow. I may have to have a beer here later. That's cool. It's a place to get a Sam Adams. Look at all of these amazing places. The Oyster House, Yankee Publishing Building, Hennessy's. So far, this is my favorite block in Boston. What a fun place. This is one of the most happening cities I've experienced. It's a Sunday in June. There is stuff to do everywhere. Great places everywhere you look. This is Faneuil Hall. It was built in 1742 and it's called the Cradle of Liberty. It was both a bustling marketplace on the bottom floor and a meeting hall up top where fiery protests against British taxes stirred the Revolution. It's right here in this building where Sam Adams, James Otis, and others protested British taxes such as the Sugar Act and the Stamp Act. So inside this Quincy Hall, there are tons of food stalls, bars, you name it, you can find it. I've decided that I have no idea if I'm going to be able to make it back down here. I only have a half a day tomorrow, so I'm going to go get a beer at the oldest tavern in Boston. I'm back. I'm back for a beer. In fact, it's the oldest tavern in the United States, not just Boston. That makes it even better. Oh my gosh, that's a big one. Thank you. Well, this is going to do me all day. Now this beer is the Boston Brick Red Samuel Adams, and he told me you can only get this beer on the Freedom Trail. So cheers. That is good. Here we go, much bigger spot here. They have live music here. The old tap room. So this whole building here. There's the old folks on the wall. Pat Dowling music is about to play here tonight. This is the original building. And this is a newer extension. And I'm going to visit the restroom. Right, I'm back. Continuing to follow the Freedom Trail. This is the old State House. From this balcony in 1776 is where the Declaration of Independence was first read aloud to the people of Boston. And outside its doors in 1770 is where the Boston Massacre took place. Next is the Old South Meeting House, This was Boston's largest gathering place, and on December 16, 1773, more than 5,000 colonists packed inside here to protest the British tax on tea. Sam Adams declared the meeting can do nothing more to save the country, and with that, the crowd, fueled by leaders of the Sons of Liberty, marched out to Griffin's Wharf and ignited the Boston Tea Party. So at this point, this is where I tell you I really wish I had dedicated an entire day or possibly 2 days to walking the Freedom Trail. I was running out of time. I was on a timetable to catch my trolley back on the other side of town because I still had another mile walk to my hotel. And some of these major historical sites, I wish I would have taken the time to go inside to learn more. So if you're planning your trip, make sure you have adequate time because there is so much to see. Here comes my trolley. I'm still hoping to be able to catch it at the end of the day, but I'm still walking the Freedom Trail, so I haven't been able to use it too much. Follow the red brick road. That's beautiful. Old City Hall from 1865 to 1969. It's gorgeous. And apparently there's a Ruth Chris Steakhouse inside. I'm not sure how I feel about that. But here's a monument to Benjamin Franklin right outside. Let's see what's inside here. This was the center of Boston's political history from 1865 to 1969. It became a modern office building and restaurant in 1970. Now this building is called the King's Chapel. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty cool looking. And the fancy Omni Parker House Hotel is right here. I seem to be doing the Freedom Trail backwards. All the signs that tell you which way to go for the next site are all pointing the opposite direction of how I'm walking. Old cemetery here. This is King's Chapel Burying Ground. From 1630.
Oh, yes, we are.
Here were buried governors of Massachusetts. There's a whole listing of people from the 1600s. And passengers from the Mayflower were also buried here. At this point, at King's Chapel Burial Ground, it's a little bit of an offshoot, so you have to backtrack to get back on the trail to finish it up. Is the burial site of the Boston Massacre, and I think I heard that Sam Adams is buried here. Let's see what this is. The Granary Burial Ground from 1660. John Hancock, Sam Adams, Robert Treat Payne, signers of the Declaration of Independence, are all buried here. And the victims of the Boston Massacre from 1770. The parents of Benjamin Franklin are also buried here, and Paul Revere. Now this is a pretty significant burial site, and unfortunately it is closed. I don't know if it has certain hours or if it's pretty much always closed because of Maybe people are damaging. These are pretty precious gravestones here. Here's what I can see from inside the fence line. The amount of history here in Boston is mind-blowing. This is just an amazing place to visit. All Americans really should come here at some point and learn a little more about American history. All right, folks, the Freedom Trail ends right here at Boston Common Park. Here we are at the end of the route. And there's the trolley. I want to pick that up, but it doesn't look like it's stopping here. Maybe it stops right up there. All right, here we are at the Massachusetts State House. We've got some protesters in true form. And right at the top of Boston Common. Thanks for joining this tour of the Freedom Trail in Boston. I'll link right here to my tour of the Seaport area, downtown, and the Boston Harbor Cruise. More Boston videos coming up soon.